I want to tell you a little bit about us as a church, and as I do, I'm going to be sharing with you something that's a bit new for us as a church in terms of vision, values, and mission. This is something that we as the elders have been working on for the last couple of months, and so some of you guys might go, hold on, I didn't know that was our vision, mission, and values as I'm sharing this, and that's because you didn't know it before right now. But if you're a Christian or you've read the Bible much or you've been around church much, a lot of this stuff is not going to be very surprising. It'll be somewhat familiar. And so we as a church, our vision is on earth as it is in heaven. And what we mean by that is in West Seattle as it is in heaven, in the Puget Sound region as it is in heaven, to the ends of the earth as it is in heaven. You might recognize that statement from Jesus' prayer, the Lord's Prayer, that we actually went over just a couple of weeks ago. And so our hope for the future, as we look toward this vision, is really God's hope for His world. It's God's purposes throughout history to bring heaven to earth. And so we want to see that done first and foremost in us as His people, and then as God renews us, as He transforms us who are broken and fallen, we get to also be His ambassadors and get to be His agents of renewal in the world as we share Him in every sphere of our lives. And so obviously this vision kind of on earth as it is in heaven, it sounds very big, right? And that's because it is. It's far too big for one church to do on its own, but really it's God's work through His church in the world. This is something that we're a part of that's way beyond Trinity. But we want to be in on what God is doing in the world here in our local area of influence. And so we want to see people throughout the whole Puget Sound have a daily encounter with Jesus where they live, learn, work, and play. That's the way that we often talk about that. And the way that they have that daily encounter with Jesus is through someone else who loves Jesus and loves them. And so that kind of leads us to our values. Our values are that simply, we love Jesus and we love people. Plain and simple. Jesus said that the greatest commandment that God has given us is to love God, and the second is to love people. And so we want to be people that are loving Jesus and loving people. Now, we don't actually have the capacity to love Jesus apart from Him first loving us, but when He does, then that actually gives us not only the motivation, but the empowerment to then go and love Him and then love others as well. And so when we say we love Jesus, sometimes this word love can be a little bit vague and confusing. When we say we love Jesus, what we mean is absolute, total devotion and surrender of everything that we are to Him. And so we love Him, and then we love people. And because we love people, we don't love people just on specific terms, but we love every single person, no matter who they are, no matter their background, no matter whether we disagree with them or agree with them, no matter whether they share our faith or not. We want to be people who embody the love of Jesus to everyone. And so because we love everyone, we share our lives in Christian community. We serve our cities and our neighbors. We live at peace in our relationships. These are just some of the reflections of what it means for us to be people who love Jesus and love people. And as we bring these two pieces together, our vision and our values, we kind of see them playing out then into our mission. They come to fruition through our mission. We want to be a church who we want to multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. And so we want to be people who make disciples of Jesus, who multiply leaders, and then eventually, over the course of the next several years, we see it as part of God's purpose for us to also be the kind of church that multiplies churches. We wouldn't exist if other people, other churches, hadn't multiplied and sent us here and gathered us together here. And so we want to see churches cropping up all over the region as we are faithful in making disciples here. And as we are faithful in pouring into and multiplying leaders here, we believe that the natural outcome of that multiplication is ultimately going to be more churches. And boy, do we need more churches in our region.